Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how to prepare a blacklist. So a blacklist is a list of all of your enemies. So I know usually, around the end of the year, a lot of my clients, they have a list and, they want to get rid of these enemies and there's certain things they want to do. If you want to knock them all out within a certain time frame, I would recommend you doing this at least a month, because sometimes one candle is not just enough. So you want to set up yourself a really good ritual. So you want to get the full moon, and you're going to work that for at least, I think the full moon will last around 15 to 16 days. And then once the waxing moon comes back around, you'll let it rest, and then you're going to work it again. So that's a full month that you're going to be working it. So what you're going to do with your blacklist is you're going to need a label for this candle. Okay, so I printed out a label. Okay, I'm going to put the label on the candle, and then I'll just explain to you guys exactly what the blacklist is. So the blacklist is your destruction. It's a destruction list. So everything that you want bad to happen to your enemies, everything they have done to you over a certain amount of time frame, and you just feel like you want to get back at all of them, you create this list and you write their names down. I have 6 numbers on here, but I'm not gonna have 6 people on here. It's a lot. You're gonna be pulling a lot of energy, having a lot of people, so you want to narrow it down to a certain amount. Okay, so that's my blacklist. You could print out your label, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a red pen. Says there's the face in front of it, and then you'll write out the name of your enemies. So I have 6 listed. Because there's going to be a lot of energy for you to pull 6 people, I will recommend at least 3. At least working with 3 is good. So you'll write down the names of the 3 people across. Underneath, I recommend you getting a petition. Or what you can do is, before you stick your label on, write down your petition with 3 separate petitions, but on the same paper. So you'll say Jane Doe this, John Doe this, Jane Doe this. Whatever you want to happen to them, you write it out. So once you've written that out, I'm going to show you how to prepare your blacklist. So the blacklist, of course, is similar to the doom list: death upon my enemies or destruction upon my enemies. Same thing. So when you have this list together, you want to also, you're going to need an oil. I'm going to use my fucked up oil. Where is it? Okay, this is my fucked up oil. My oil has everything in it. It has a bunch of herbs and everything that I'm going to need. So I really don't need to add any herbs. But for those of you that don't have an oil and you want to add in some herbs, I'm going to tell you as well at least three herbs that you can put into your black candle. Okay, black works best. Don't use purple. I recommend black overall. Once you wrote up your list, you have everything there, and the candle is ready to be prepared. The next thing you want to do is you want to dress it. So what I do is I take a rusty nail. This is really rusty, and I'm going to poke 3 holes inside of it. And it's best also, if you want to, you can put some heat on top of it, on top of the rusty nail, and it'll go all the way in. Because towards the end of this, I'm going to leave this nail in here. And it all depends what type of candle you have. If you have like an old candle, it's not going to go all the way in. Okay, so you see what I did. All right. So then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add in this. I'm going to add in the oil. And I already told you guys my oil is loaded with all the herbs that I need to create total destruction upon my enemies. So you just mix that in around there. If you have an oil with everything in it. Let me see now. You guys can see that? Okay. All right. So next thing you're going to do is I'm going to show you how to set everything up. All right. So you have your candle, you have it dressed, you have the nail in there. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to need some black candles. Well, I prefer to use the shorter black candles, which are these. And sometimes most of the time, these candles, they don't come really cut well at the bottom. So what I did was I took a knife and I evened it out. After I evened it out, I shaped around the edge. After the edges have been evened out, I'm using 5 candles. You can use more if you want to. And you want to use a wider plate because you don't want the flame to be too close, okay? So I'm going to have 5 there. If you want to, you can use these. But then you're going to need these for 9 days. If you're going to work 9 days, or if you're going to work the full 15 days, you're going to work the whole time from when the moon is full to when it's very, very, very close to the waxing moon. You can use these. You'll get a lot more energy. But I don't think that you need to use 5 of those. You could use like 2. I'm going to have 6 candles there altogether, totaling 6. So, okay. If you don't want to use the bigger coach candles, then you could use the shorter ones. These are much smaller, but you can still get your intent, you know, by using that. So with these candles, like I explained to you, they're not really cut too well at the bottom. But these candles are much bigger than the smaller ones that I showed you, the red ones. And all you have to do when you get them is you just mold them. Because majority of them are like that. Like, there'll probably be a few. And when I purchase these candles, I'm buying like 144 at a time. So it's impossible for me to go through the whole box and see what's not bent. And, you know, so I usually mold them myself and, you know, get them to stand. And what you could do as well is you could take a lighter. You don't want to put the lighter too close to it. Just a little bit to get a little melt. And a little bit of heat actually at the bottom to melt it just a bit. And you want to have it standing up like that. So once you have it standing up like that, what you're going to do also is write out everything that you want bad to happen to each person on your blacklist. Okay? So Jane Doe, you want her to suffer, no money, everything bad that you want to happen. Every single day starting, say right now I start on a Saturday. Okay? If I start on a Saturday, I'm going to use 5 candles every single day. This is going to stay lit. I'm going to replace this when this goes down. I'm going to get another blacklist, write down the same thing, same petition, and then I'm going to write the same thing on each and every single candle. So for that whole time that the full moon is out and it's going to be waxing, I'm going to be working this spell. So full moon, right after the full moon, it starts to wane. So it'll start waning for 14 days. So you'll have 15 days in total. So it's good for you to prepare this on the full moon and work it each and every day. Because remember, on the full moon now, the moon is decreasing. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So your energies is going to be mostly fullest at the beginning stages as soon as the moon starts to wane. And that's when you want to pull in all your energy, all your intent. It's very easy to do, but I'm letting you know it's going to be a lot of energy that you're pulling out of yourself. You're going to have to set up a protection candle. Okay? So I have these 2 white candles here. Wherever I'm going to have these candles at, I'm going to have 2 white protection candles for myself. Okay? 2 white protection candles for myself, along with you want to also keep a fairy wall protection candle burning as well. And you want to cleanse. This is a lot of energy that you're putting into. You're going to be cursing this candle every single day. Do it at night. I prefer you to work this at night instead of the daytime. After you work it, you can cleanse yourself. So if you, depending on how much energy you're going to be putting into this, you might want to cleanse every 2 to 3 days. I know some people will cleanse every single day. And then I know some people that will cleanse all the way at the end of the spell. And guess what? To cleanse after 2 weeks of working something heavy, you're gonna be really drained. I'm telling you. And even if this is like a first time spell that you're doing, I recommend you to set up heavy protection for yourself. This is not something for a beginner at all. If you're going to be working with 6 people on your list, I recommend you to cleanse every single day. I'm giving you guys an outline of how to work this spell. You have to come up with your own prayers. Okay, you don't have to put the nail in there. I'm putting the nail in there. The rust from that nail is going to create the sickness upon them. As the candle burns, the nail will go all the way down at the bottom. What I'm also going to do with this, when I'm finished my ritual and the 15 days is over, I'm going to dispose of this. You could take it to the graveyard, and you're going to ask the spirits to assist you with holding down your enemies. So basically you'll be binding them. The spirits will drain them of their energy and hold them down, depending on what you ask the spirits in the graveyard. And you also have to offer the graveyard spirits a offering. So there's a lot to do with this spell. So if you have never done anything like this before, I wouldn't recommend you to do it. But I know a lot of you out there, you know how to do work, and you just need some assistance sometimes in working and, you know, getting certain things done and certain steps as well. If you want someone to go to jail, I recommend you work a blacklist. If you want your enemies to get sick, I recommend you to work a blacklist. Remember, you're creating destruction all over them. I'm using my fucked up oil because that's what I want them to feel like. I want them to be in a fucked up position, state of mind. I want them to feel all of that. So the oil you're going to use as well is going to help you create a big role in the outcome that you're going to get at the end. My fucked up oil also crosses you up. It tears you down. It breaks you down. And what I recommend you do is when you're working with, you know, even if you don't make oil, that's fine. But if you buy other people's oil, try to put some energy as well into that oil. Because right now you can have a fucked up oil and you don't know how to work it well. You're just rubbing it on the candles and then you're going to leave it there. You have to put intent into the oil as well, into the candles. Once you're preparing the label, I'm showing you guys an outline of how to do it. Now, the way I'm going to do it is going to be totally different because I'm going to have a big ritual on doing this. Every single night, I'm going to be, you know, working this, putting so much into it, speaking to the spirits and asking them to assist me in destroying these people on my blacklist. Like, I really want to tear them down. So when you want to create destruction upon your enemies, you have to verbally go at it. You have to go at it with these candles as they're lit every single night. You can use 3 candles. You don't have to use 5. You need to learn how to come up with certain prayers as well. My prayers are going to be different than yours because we're working on separate people. My herbs are going to be different than yours. What you can use is you can use valerian root, which is really good to destroy. You can use you can also use witchgrass as well, which is real good to work on your enemies. So you can use those two. You can use barberry if you want to, but remember, you're creating total destruction upon them. You can use the poppy seeds if you want to. I mean, I'm not going to use no poppy seeds on them. What I'm going to do after I work up my ritual, I'm going to use my destruction powder and sprinkle it all over that plate. My destruction powder does not smell very good, so I'm not going to open that and put that even out because it's not a good smell at all. Like, it really is some destructive shit that I put together. And I'm going to sprinkle that all over those candles. I'm going to oil them from the top to the bottom. That's what I want to do because I'm bringing the situation down. I want to bring them down. And what you can do as well for the candles is you can write each of the person's name on the candle. So if you have 3 people, use 3 candles. Don't forget to set up your protection. I recommend you to set up your protection first. I recommend you also to work this in an area where you don't want any energy reflecting off of it from anyone that's in your home as well. So if you're going to use the bathroom, if you have 2 bathrooms, then you can use a bathroom that nobody else is going to use, because working this in your room is not a good idea. Working this in your kitchen, in your living room, or anywhere where your kids are at is not a good idea at all. This is some real fucked up shit. Like, this blacklist is a list of people you are working to destroy. The energy and the spirits that are even going to come around you is what you have to watch out for as well. So not only are you working this and, you know, praying over this, but you're going to have some heavy spirits coming around to help assist you. So this, if you're afraid to work with spirits, then you don't need to call upon them. So like I said, if you are a beginner, this is not for you. Now, what you could do if you are a beginner is you can work it without the blacklist candle inside. So then you'll have, what I recommend you to do is have 9 black candles. And the 9 black candles, in between the black candles, work on 3 people. And for the other remaining candles, you will write down everything that you want to destroy these people. So you can place the 3 candles inside, and then you can put the 6 candles around. This is a lighter destructive spell that you can work if you're afraid to work with the blacklist. But it's still, you know, it's still negative. So, I mean, there's nothing good about it. You're still going to drain yourself. You're still pulling a lot of energy out of yourself. So you want to definitely protect yourself. Another thing you can do as well is you can place the nine black candles, and then you could put a skull in the middle, and that'll be the person that you want to destroy. If you have never worked with a skull, there are simple ways you can work with a skull, and I'm going to most likely upload a video showing you a simple way to work a beginner spell. Just pretend the white skull is black, okay? So if you don't want to use the blacklist, you know, you're just nervous on using it because of how I explained to you how I work it, you know, and how you should work it, then we'll do it like this. Okay, so black skull in the middle. Okay. Black skull in the middle, and you'll be working on one specific person, okay? Then you will have the candles set up. I have 5 there. Use 9. Use 9. Write down 9 things that you want to destroy this person's head, his mind. Okay. The best way into working a person is to get at their head first. Once your head is gone, that's it. Now, a lot of people do not know how to work skulls. They think it's just all about lighting up a candle on that skull and that's it. A lot of people feel like, you know what, I'll just light up a skull and it works. No, when you work these skulls, you have to talk to them. Create a realistic situation talking to this skull. Blowing smoke into their face to confuse them. Giving them the thoughts that I need them to have. So I'm controlling them, and at the same time, I'm manipulating them. When you start working with magic, you become good at manipulating your work. Just like I have told most of you, when you work with the candles, control the candles. Don't let the candles control you. If your candle is burning really high, put it out. Trim the wick. This is the wick here. Trim the wick down and work it over again. Pray over it again. Cleanse over your area again. Sometimes, you know, when you start working a spell, you start picking up negative vibrations. Just the thoughts of the person and everything you want to do to them. And it becomes so much that your candles can't take on all that energy. So they start, you know, burning really wild and crazy. Cut them down. You calm down as well. Cleanse the area off. You don't have to move everything. Just the area alone. A quick wipe down and some incense. Calm yourself down. Calm the area down. Calm the energy down. And then work it again. I told you guys also, clean your candles. These candles here, because it's a blacklist candle, and the reason I have cleaned the outside is because I'm going to be touching it. But the inside, I haven't cleansed it. I didn't clean inside of it. Because everything and all the nasty negative energy that this candle has picked up prior to getting to me, getting to the shop, and wherever else it was at before it got to the shop, I want that person to pick up. I do. If it's a regular candle, then no, I don't want, you know, I don't want that. Any labels, most of my candles that I buy, they won't have any labels on them. But if they do have labels on them, I take that label off. I don't want to burn any candles that have the labels of the company and where it was manufactured at all. I don't want to do that. I scrub them sometimes with like Florida water and soap and Chinese wash. I scrub the outside, and then the inside I clean it as well, and then I let them dry for a while. I don't like, I know a lot of people that they just get a candle and they just light it. I don't like doing that at all. That's not something I like to do. I prefer just working it and cleansing it off. I feel like I have to work the candle before I do anything to it. So I have to clean it off really well. Really well, especially if it's something for love and prosperity, work, anything in that nature. But if it's a black candle, I want to send as much nasty energy that I can to you. So this is another way too that you can work. Okay? So the skull is in the middle, and you pretend right now these are all black candles. Okay? So these all black candles, this represents one person, this represents one person, and this represents one person. So what you can do, since if all three people have something to do with each other, you're not going to cleanse the candles. You want them to be dirty. Okay? You need all that nasty energy inside of them. You're going to write from the top to the bottom, top to the bottom, top to the bottom. On this skull, you're going to write everything that you want this person in the middle to be feeling. What I do, I usually load the bottom up. I load it up really well. I have a process before I do anything with my skulls. And everybody's going to have a different process. But I just do different things. But I'm going to give you an outline on what to do. When you write all over the head, what you can do as well, you can create some holes. And then you can refill them with different herbs. Each herb, you don't need a lot of herbs on this skull, because when the skull starts burning, those herbs are going to catch a fire. And if you have never, ever, ever worked a skull, you need to take your time working a skull until you've become so good that you can close your eyes and work the skull. When you start working with certain spirits and energies, you know what good spirits to keep around you. You can use marshmallow leaves, or they're called Althea leaves, and you can place those. Those are for good spirits to come around. So if you're worried about certain spirits coming around that are too dark, and the energy, you feel like they'll suck away from you, because that's what happens. That's what happens. It starts draining you down. Those are the spirits. That's the candle draining you, because it needs energy. And if you neglect it, you're going to be wiped out. You're going to be so tired within 3 days. You're not going to know what's wrong with you, and it's because you've been working a candle. When you start working spells, you have to, that's why I schedule everything. Imagine me working 14, 15 different spells in a week. I wouldn't even have time to go to my job. How can I have energy to do anything if I'm doing that? Everything is scheduled. It has to be. Everything is set on a certain time and date. And sometimes I have things scheduled for 2 weeks ahead of time, because it's best to work then. So, you know, many of you want stuff done right away. It can't work like that. I can't do that. You have to wait. I'll let you know what I have set up next. It'll probably be like 7 to 10 days within. If it's an emergency, then yeah, I have emergency fees along with my spells. But just because you call me up and be like, hey, you know, I need this done, my situation is emergency. Just because your situation is emergency doesn't mean it is an emergency. Everybody has emergencies. It's an emergency to you, yeah. But I have other things planned up and lined up to do for everybody else that had to wait. And they had an emergency, but they waited. It's best to wait too. Don't always be in a rush to destroy. Take your time. Destruction will always come if it's done correctly. At the end of the day, the results are left into the hands of fate. So I know a lot of you feel like, you know, oh my God, I'm working, and it's just not happening. If fate doesn't feel like it's for you, then it won't come. So no matter which way, no matter how many spiritual workers you go to, if there's certain things that you want in your life and it's just not coming, it just won't come. And there's nothing you can do but accept it and move on from that and work on something else. So work on something else. That's it. Just work on something else. Stop draining yourselves out and beating yourselves up over one thing. If you don't want to work the blacklist and you feel like it's too much for you, work the black skull. If it's too complicated, because like I told you, working a skull is, you got to know what you're doing. You got to know how to talk to the skull. You have to know how to manipulate. You have to learn how to deceive and get what you want when you're working on a skull, because you're changing somebody's mind. You're altering their thoughts to your thoughts to make them think that their thoughts are their own, when in actuality, they're yours. I hope that didn't confuse nobody, but that's just the process of it. And in me working on skulls for so long, you know, I know a lot of you always ask me, how do I do the skull? How do I do this? Once I give you an outline, when you set up your altar and you start praying, there's certain spirits that will guide you. You can use the marshmallow leaves to help you to bring forth good energy, good spirits into the home. And even if you're working a dark spell and you're afraid of certain spirits coming around, there will be some that will come around to help you, to guide you with your blacklist, with your darker work, but they won't place no harm upon you, because a lot of times when you start working on a spell, you invite certain spirits into the house and they don't want to leave. And I'm being 100% honest with you. And when that happens, then you're stuck on a situation and you don't want to create that for yourself. So always know what you're working with. Always know what herbs you're going to be using as well. And I don't know how many times I have to say this, but stop letting people give you herbs to drink. If they cannot tell you what that name is, if they cannot tell you what it is, and they cannot, listen, don't drink things that people tell you to drink, okay? Because too many of my clients, that new clients that are coming in, have told me that there's other spiritual workers told them to drink something, and they asked them what it is, and they said, oh, it's in my my language, I don't know how to say it in English. Oh, well, bitch, you need to drink that in your language too, because I won't be drinking it. So, you know, in light of everything that I have said, if you don't want to work with a blacklist candle, don't. If you don't, you know, don't get, just because I'm showing it to you doesn't mean that it's for you. There will be some of you out there that are watching that have a lot more experience working, and this will be the perfect spell that you've been looking for to do. You can work with just these, the black ones. I love working with coach candles. Dress them up, write on them, put your herbs on it. If you have an oil with a lot of herbs on it, then you don't really need to add in anything extra at all. You'll be fine. So, you know, you don't have to worry about that part of it. Just work with what you can work with. And in order for you to learn it, you have to do it. So a lot of you out there, you're afraid to do it. You got to get yourself out there, you know, and doing certain things. I mean, I'm not telling you to, this is not like an evil spell. This is a defensive spell. This is what I call a defensive spell. You got to defend yourself out here, because then you'll have other people taking advantage of you, working you, draining you, sucking you dry, and leaving you with nothing. You have no luck. You have no money. And a lot of times it's the people really close to you. So you have to be aware as well as to who's doing it to you. And sometimes your spiritual guides are guiding you to realize and open your eyes that it's somebody close around to you, but you are in disbelief and you don't want to believe that that person is doing it to you. And that causes a lot of the results not going nowhere, because you're working on the wrong person. Even if you create a pendulum and you asking it yes or no, you'll be able to get your results. Now with the pendulum, what you're going to do is, you can create an easy pendulum. You'll take a piece of string, and I'm just going to use this as an example. I don't have my pendulum. Well, I don't use a pendulum anymore. I used to use a pendulum years ago, but I'm pretty sure I still have it somewhere. I needed the string for something, and I took it off a couple of years ago, and I placed it somewhere. So basically, this will be like your pendulum, okay? As you want it to stop spinning, because usually when you do it, stop spinning. So right now, left and right means no, and then back and forth towards me means yes. So right now I'll take my pendulum and I'll say, make sure it's even, it's not moving around too much. I'll say, is it going to snow tonight? It's telling me no. Right? Okay. So then I'll ask it another question. Pick it up slowly. Make sure it's going to spin. So you just have to wait till it stops spinning. And then you'll say, Are we going to have a short winter? It says no. Okay. So then I'll ask it one more thing. So I'll say, wait till it stops. Then I'll say, as soon as it stops and it's as steady as can be. And you'll see I'm not doing anything. It's just steady. Next time I'm going to do it, I'm going to get my my stand for my camera. And I'll stand in front of the camera and show you guys. Should I waste my time working on that dry ass bitch on YouTube? It says no. Don't waste my time working on that dry ass bitch from YouTube. And it's even rocking more. So I'm going to put it down. I'm going to ask one more question. Okay? What you do before you work any spells. You ask it. Am I going to have success in my spells? And it says yes. Always ask. It's that simple. That's your pendulum. You're not going to use a Sharpie. You could use like, you could even go to like, I've seen them in like Walmart. There's like a little ball and you could tie it. Make sure it has like a little hole you can put the string on. This string is really good to use as well. I use these to tie my, my candles up. So like when you order my new candles that I have listed up there, I have black, I have green, and I have, so the red ones are for steady love. So this creates an everlasting relationship. So if you want longevity and you want more love and passion into the relationship, then you use my red steady love candles. They come 5 in a pack. And then you have the green ones, which are my work candles. My oil been called work long before that song came out. So my work candles help you to move up and along in the ladder, you know, in the business line, at work. It helps you move up in the ladder, like as far as getting more promotions, getting more hours at work, creating stability for yourself as well. You want certain things at work. You want to work these candles. You want to work them on top of your honey jar. You want to get more money. You want to be noticed more. The work candles as well as the oil, even like my brown sugar work scrub, that will help you to be more noticeable when it comes to employment and even when it comes to your business. So if you have a business and you want more clients, you can work these work along with my steady client oil. And then you have the black ones, and the black ones are called fucked. So you already know what that means and you know what they do. So these are a bit thicker than these. Actually way bigger, much thicker. But you know, I like working with these because you can mold them and stuff like that. So I think I covered, you know, majority of what I needed to cover. And plus I'll continue talking. So, you know, until the next video, you know, I'll see you guys.